Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got a combo that one of you guys requested for us to test, and I see no reason why it shouldn't be another absolute hammer. We've seen plenty of good performances from this choke before, but typically we've tested it 20 gauge. We just recently picked up the 12 gauge one and just started testing it already with some great results, so this should be another hammer. But first up, for the shells that we're running today, I brought out some more of the Winchester Longbeard XR shells. These ones being the 12 gauge, 3-inch, 1 3/4 ounce payload of 6s at about 1200 feet per second. We all know what these are capable of. They've given us hammers for patterns time and time again in 4s, 5s, and 6s. So we'll see what they can do through today's choke combination. As for the setup we're running them through today, I brought out the Remington 870 special purpose. It's got a 26-inch barrel on it, and for that choke, we've got the Truglo Headbanger. It's a 665 constriction. Like I mentioned a minute ago, we just recently picked up the 12 gauge variant of the Headbanger. The 20 gauge one has always been a pretty good performing choke for us. The 12 gauge one is already off to a good start as well, and I see zero reason why these Longbeards should not perform perfectly fine through it as well. I'm betting we'll see another pretty nasty pattern, but we'll see what we can get. So as for our test today, we're running everything the same as usual, that being the turkey target at 40 yards and the chrono to get our velocity. So let's get you guys a view of that target and see if we can get another nasty Longbeard pattern from this Truglo Headbanger. I have a feeling that's what we're going to see, but just how tight of a pattern are we actually going to be able to get? Let's take our shot and see what happens. Okay, that shell gave us 1239 through the chrono. We have a boss claim of 1200, so we're a little bit over it from our 26-inch barrel, but that's still well within the realm of reason, all things considered here. So looking perfect for a velocity, but I think we got a pretty nasty pattern down there at 40. So let's go check it out and see how good it really is. All right, well, here we are down at our 40-yard paper, and yeah, I think that pattern speaks for itself. That's complete and total devastation down here at 40. That's the kind of patterns we typically see from the 3.5-inch Longbeard loads. The 3-inch ones are great, don't get me wrong, but to see that nasty of a core area, that's very impressive, no question about it. Truglo named that choke the Headbanger, and with this combo, I think that name fits it pretty well. That bird may or may not have much of a head left at 40 yards even. And if so, it definitely would be a jellyhead for sure. So obviously that is a nasty core area. Ton of pellets right through across that bird's head and neck. And that is a tight pattern as well. We're going to pull this turkey target down and draw some circles here in a minute. But you can already see a 10-inch circle on that turkey target there, as well as a smaller 5-inch in the middle. And for the most part, our core is all within that 10-inch ring. So that is deadly, no question about it. And most of our shot is on that 12-inch wide turkey paper. We do string a little bit of stuff up there at the top, a few little bits over here off the right, couple on the bottom and to the left. None of that is out of the ordinary with a lead 6 or these Longbeard 6s either. But with a core like that, you cannot argue with that performance. I'll take those few little stringy flyers around the edge to get that kind of nasty pattern. And honestly speaking, that pattern might be a little bit too tight for its own good. That's 40 yards and everything is pretty well within a 10-inch circle. It don't give you a ton of leeway to work with overall. At 20 yards and in, you're pretty much going to be shooting a slug at them more so than anything else. That pattern would absolutely reach out and touch them at any distance you would confidently use a lead 6 to. Usually for me, 50 yards and in is pretty much the limitations for a lead 6 just on terminal performance alone. That would absolutely do 50 yards, no doubt about it, and it would still be a little bit tight. So that may legitimately be too tight for what a lot of people want. Either way you look at it, that's a nasty pattern. And if there's a pattern that speaks for itself, it's probably going to be that one. I expected some good results, but man, that might even be a little bit nastier than what I thought we would see. So let's get that turkey target down and out of the way. We'll draw some circles and count some pellets, and we'll really get a good idea on just how ridiculously tight that core is. Alright, so now we've pulled our turkey target down, got it out of the way, and yes indeed, we can see just what we thought we were looking at earlier. Absolutely devastating. And honestly, we're starting to kind of nip at the heels of a TSS looking core right there. If you didn't know any better, then maybe some people, at least through camera, through video anyway, could potentially be fooled into that being a lighter load of TSS. because we're not that far off numbers wise, at least in that core. Inside of our 10-inch circle there, we have 231 pellets. It may even be a little bit more than that, because some of those right in the middle are just pellet on top of pellet on top of pellet, pretty much all punching through the same hole, cutting a streak in the paper. So that is a pretty rough number, might be 240 or so, but either way, that is a ton of pellets through that 10-inch core. Outside of that, with our 20-inch leeway ring, we pick up an additional 114 pellets. It does give you a little bit of leeway to work with, but you can see not very far towards the edges of that 20-inch ring, we get pretty thin pretty quickly. We might have had a little bit of stuff spray out over here towards the right, just a little bit more than we did over here on the left, but I wouldn't necessarily rely too much on having a ton of leeway there, because that is a tight pattern. And even outside of our 20-inch ring, we only have 34 pellets, so not a ton at all, just a few little bits and pieces, mainly just over here off that right edge. So there's no other way to describe it. That's straight up devastating. I expected a nasty result, but that core might be a little bit tighter than what I thought we would see here. But these Longbeards are still the kings of lead on the store shelf, that's for sure. Maybe somebody can get a hand load to perform close to that, but I haven't seen it yet personally in my testing. So if you want to run a lead load, you definitely don't need to run a TSS load in 12 gauge. So if you wanted to run a lead load, the Longbeards are simply just the way to go. You can get one of those Truglo Headbangers and clearly you would have a nasty combo. So now maybe we should try the 5s and potentially 4s through that as well. If the 6s are this good, maybe we can get the 4s and 5s to be just as good. Or maybe that might be a little bit too much choke for those loads. I don't really know yet, but if we're off to that good of a pattern start with that choke with Longbeards, I think we can continue that trend with some other shot sizes as well. So deadly pattern, no doubt about it. I am really impressed. And it still might be a little bit on the too tight side for what some people want. I would run it, but I would probably prefer my shots to be out in a field where I can set my decoys out a little farther or something, because that is going to be nasty in their closer ranges. And here's the wad out of that shell. Very typical Longbeard stuff. There was a period in time here recently where they started using this more yellow color material, but it's the same wad overall. We definitely have one pedal bent back farther here, but it's not snagged up or anything on the very tip here. So I think that more likely happened when it hit the ground. It may have hit the ground at an angle and peeled that one back. We've seen that before, but overall though, nothing major as far as damage goes that I'm concerned about. No snagging or nothing like that. Everything looks pretty typical otherwise. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance right there? At this point, I think we've covered it. That pattern speaks for itself. That is a nasty looking core area. Gives you a little bit of leeway to work with, but not a ton. I expected a nice, tight, condensed Longbeard looking pattern. I didn't expect that choke to do anything funny, but to get that kind of spread, that might be one of the nastier Longbeard patterns we've gotten in quite some time. We know those shells are capable of some fantastic patterns, but that might be a little too tight, honestly. I wouldn't mind seeing a little more breathing room or a little more spread. If you get a bird inside of 20 yards, you're going to straight up be shooting a slug at them more than anything else. And with them being a lead 6, probably about 50 yards or so is starting to reach the limit terminally anyway, as far as what I would want to push it to. So that might be a 35 to 45 yard combination out in a field or something like that. So we definitely got to try the 4s and 5s now and see if we continue to get that kind of pattern, how far out can we really push it? Because if we get the 4s or something to perform just like that, we may legitimately have a 60-65 yard capable combination, even though that's way farther than what I would ever shoot a turkey at personally. So surprisingly enough, we're not that far off of TSS numbers within that core. A good TSS load is typically mid 300s. We're mid 200s here, and that's just pellet count difference alone. Size wise, that's the same kind of core you're looking at with a good TSS load. So that's impressive, no question about it. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of the Longbeard shells through one of those Truglo Headbanger chokes? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is that a pattern or combo you would hunt with? Or is it a little bit too tight for you? Or maybe that's exactly what you're looking to see, is one of those absolute screamers of a pattern. And maybe what other choke combos do you want to see us run with those shells? Or what other shells do you want to see us put through that Headbanger choke? I do have one of those in 20 gauge like I mentioned earlier. Maybe we ought to try the new Longbeard 20 gauge shells through that 20 gauge Headbanger as well. Maybe we can get another result like that with those. That would be rather impressive if we can try that combo and actually get that performance from it. So maybe that's on the list to run here soon as well. But let me know what you guys want to see down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it. But I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.